Alright, you know the deal. Pixar hasn't had the best track record lately. I mean, last year, Turning Red came out. That was kinda so. Kind of, some people liked it, some people didn't. Lightyear came out. It was kind of a really big disappointment and a really huge opportunity they just let down. But now we have Elemental, which just released, and I watched it yesterday. And actually, what I gotta say is, the trailer did this movie so dirty. And this happens so many times with Pixar movies that it's getting to the point like, what are you trying to do with these trailers? And I get and understand why people were saying, yeah, this movie isn't gonna be that great. But honestly, this was the first Pixar movie in so long that actually felt like a Pixar movie. Like the last one that was kind of felt like it was Soul, which was kind of a missed movie that some people still have yet to watch, which is crazy. But Elemental was actually surprisingly a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And today we're going to be talking about what I thought of the movie. Before we start, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into what I thought of Elemental. Now, I was going in with very low, not just mid expectations. I know it was just gonna be okay, but I didn't know I was gonna walk out like, wow, I really was downplaying this movie. And it's really I didn't doubt them that this movie was gonna be bad. It just seemed bland and it was gonna go with this cliche route, which, I'm not gonna lie to you, it does. It has the cliche route, but oh my god. Like I said, Pixar, it was just an explosion of color with this movie, and I can't say this is a Zootopia ripoff, because it's really not. Yes, they have their similarities, but this is a very different story. And one thing I was not expecting, honestly, if you do really want to go see this movie, then click off, go into the sunset and watch this movie, but we'll get into what happens in the story. So apparently, in the beginning, the movie literally starts off with an immigrant story. That I was not expecting. That was not put into the trailers, it was not put into nothing. And then after the movie, I found out the director behind this movie, there's a story behind this, and there's always a story behind a Pixar movie on how it was made to be. So the director behind this movie, his family was actually from Korea, and they moved to New York in the 60s, and it's basically a metaphor for how... It's a metaphor of two things. It's a metaphor of immigrant life. I really like that segment, and it was just yeah, this feels like a Pixar movie again. It really hits you in the feels. And then the other metaphor, which they didn't get too deep into it, and I'm kind of glad they didn't. I mean, I feel like a 6-year-old could probably get the message. Basically, this is the first Pixar movie that is really strictly on a romantic comedy, and, it kind of works between Ember and Wade. Their chemistry throughout the movie is just fun to watch. And yes, all the jokes are pretty on the nose, but what do you expect with a movie about elements? Of course they're gonna be making jokes. And some of them work, some of them are just, but still, nonetheless, this movie actually doesn't have a villain, and some people may like that, some people don't. But with a romantic comedy and a romantic movie like this, the movie doesn't really need a villain, per se. I actually thought the Cloud was gonna be the villain. I literally forgot her name, I'm so sorry. But I thought she was gonna be the villain. I saw her in a few promotional art. I thought she was gonna be it, but I was clearly wrong. I thought they were gonna go with that twist villain route, but nope. And actually, I'm actually happy they didn't do this with this movie. I feel like it works better on that perspective. And it brings down that dynamic of Ember and Wade. They just can't be together. They're fire and water. And the metaphor for that is just racial relationships, interracial relationships. And yeah, that's pretty easy to figure out. They don't enforce it, but they don't make it, they don't scream it in your face. You could just figure it out on your own. And, that's a first for Pixar, and they actually really did it pretty well. It's simple enough with fire and water, and I feel like the movie just comes together really, really nicely. The movie barely showed the plot of this movie. The trailer did not give this movie enough justice that it deserved. And one thing I could say is that this movie was actually surprisingly long. I thought it was going to be a good 1 hour, 30-40 minutes. Nope, this was close to almost 2 hours. This may be included with the Carl's Date short that premiered before it, which, The voice actor's last send-off, that was really, really hard. Like, I love the original movie, but the fact that that was his last performance and we didn't really get a full send-off to the character. Yes, it was a good short, but it didn't feel like a good send-off to him, because now that he's gone, we can't bring that character back. No one's gonna be recasted as him. But it's just insane how many people were calling this movie terrible and how they were just gonna pass up on it and not see it. And I was willing to give this movie a chance. It had really great animation. I was kind of curious to see where the story would go, and I am so glad I did. I was a little scared when I walked in and I realized there was barely any people in there, and I was like, oh god, hopefully this movie is not a flop, because once again, Pixar originals are always a delight. We don't really need a bunch of sequels, which on their track record look like it's happening. But thank god, it filled up pretty quickly. Filled with children. I can understand why most people don't really want to see PG movies anymore, unless it's Spiderverse. But on top of that, I feel like this movie, people should actually give a chance to. I know a lot of people love Spiderverse. I love it too. Definitely one of the best animated films of all time. People are excited for Ruby Gilman. DreamWorks is on a new high right now. But I notice everyone is just punching Pixar in the gut right now. And just, they don't forget that, yes, the studio, like, I'm not punching at Disney, but I kinda am at the same time. They kinda started throwing Disney under the bus, Pixar under the bus, when they started putting all their films onto Disney+. That was not okay. Hundreds of millions of dollars that were put into those movies, and the amazing teams that worked on those movies, that was just not okay. And after throwing Soul, then Luca, then turning red, and then when they actually finally released a Pixar movie into theaters, it bombed, because Lightyear was just very bland, and it was just such a missed opportunity on that movie. But we finally have Elemental, a true Pixar original that released in theaters, and yes, it actually feels like a Pixar movie. That's what's been missing from Pixar lately. A lot of these movies just don't have that Pixar feel where you walk out like, wow, like you feel something different. It's just weird. It's hard to explain, because like I said, you're gonna have a different, you're having a mindset when you walk into this movie, and you have a different one when you walk out. It's just like that. And honestly, there is no room for any sequels here. The movie should just stay as it is. It's not a monumental Pixar film, no. It's not. It's one of their better films, and it's a very good step in the right direction, and I really don't want to see this movie get thrown under the bus, and we never see this level of quality for a Pixar film ever again. And it seems to me that almost everyone hates when someone compliments Pixar. I mean, the new Elio trailer, I feel like I said his name wrong, but anyways, that trailer came out a few days ago. I tried complimenting how the trailer actually looked nice. I mean, it's a teaser, they're not going to give off that much. But the eye candy was just great. But nope, so many people in the comments were telling, nope, it's generic, this is probably going to be bad. Like, it's gotten so bad to the point where just talking about liking a Disney or Pixar film just brings up so much discussion on, like, well, why do you like this movie so much? It's probably trash. And I feel like another Disney movie, Wish, is probably going to suffer the same fate, where people are going to pass up on it because it's just Disney. I feel like the hype for Pixar movies have died down. I remember the last truly hyped Pixar movie was Toy Story 4. Then the pandemic came, and then it screwed up everything. But the last hyped Pixar movie was Toy Story 4, and then after that, every Pixar movie just came and gone, or everyone was like, yay, I guess that's happening, but they weren't lining up to see it like Spiderverse, sold out theaters and everything like that. It wasn't like that, but Pixar is still one of the powerhouses of animation. It's just like, they're just there now. And I feel like that's, good. They don't have to keep cranking out sequels, even though that's happening, Toy Story 5. But Elemental was a really fun time, and I really am just surprised at how good it actually was. Not monumentally, but just we got a good Pixar film. Can we just be happy for that? We got a good one. It wasn't Turning Red, it wasn't Lightyear. Luca was fine, Soul was alright, We just got a good Pixar film, and that's what's been missing, man. Pixar films are supposed to throw punches to your gut, and that's exactly what it did. Yes, it played on tropes that you've seen before, but it works. It's a romantic movie. Wade and Ember's relationship, you kind of really do get attached to throughout the movie. They're both very likable characters, and the arc they go throughout the movie is pretty nice. And the world of Element City, though my only one critique is that maybe the finale was a tad bit rushed, and also we didn't get to see as much as Element City as I wanted to. Like, we went into our sections in there, but it was like this. It was just moving very, very quickly. But it's fine. I mean, the main focus really was on Wade and Ember, and that's kind of what it should be. I'm happy there wasn't a mainline villain that had all these powers that they had to go fight against. This is not that type of movie. It's a movie centric on basically one relationship, two different people that shouldn't be together, and they are, and it's just a nice film. Don't expect it to be a masterpiece or anything. It's just a really great Pixar film, and honestly, some people are seeing The Flash this weekend, I'm still seeing it, but if you really have time to see Elemental, I recommend you go give it a shot in the theaters, because more movies like this need to be pushed out by Pixar, and if hopefully this does well, that might be put on this director for other movies. And mind you, this is the same director that did The Good Dinosaur, and The Good Dinosaur was not that great. Some people have it as their worst Pixar movie, so that's threw off a lot of people. But nope, he had the comeback of the century with this movie, and honestly, I cannot wait to see what he does next. And honestly, I'm looking forward to what Pixar is cooking up, minus Toy Story 5. But anyways, that cooks up for today's video. Elemental was great, and did you see that Fireboy and Water Girl post-credit scene? That was just amazing. Just kidding, that didn't happen. But still, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I like the word moist, okay? It's who I am. And if you can't accept that, then what's the point?